All right, we are back. We are here, Dexter Henry, Bryan Fonseca, the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, episode 35. I don't know what athlete's number we're going to make. It's a Kevin Durant episode. Chris Kaman, Clarence Weatherspoon.
Clarence Weatherspoon is last year. I put all this in the rundown.
You had like every 35.
Because before we were talking about this like a few weeks ago, when we get to 35, what are we going to do? And Dexter mentioned Kevin Durant, and I was like, I think Kevin Durant's corny now. So I'm not.
Oh man, I'm like one of the few Durant defenders, supporters.
I support his decision. I just still think he's corny. It could be both.
And that's fine.
But I think he's corny. That's what it is. It's just like, So what about Frank Thomas? Frank Thomas?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah.
You know his commercials.
Big hurt. And he was Bo's teammate at Auburn football.
That's right.
I also like Ricky Henderson. Can we do that?
That's one of my favorites.
Underrated great.
You know what? We just give them all. No, hold on to all 35.
Matt, just take note of that.
If you hear our guest that's with us today, this is our second musician on the show, but I believe it's our first musician that has won a Grammy. We have a Grammy award-winning musician here in the building. His name is Nabaté Isles. He is a trumpeter, Grammy award-winning trumpeter. I've seen him perform many times. I've known him for probably about 10 years.
Yes, sir.
Or so now.
In this business
now, we've probably known each other. Also is a producer for Sirius XM NBA Radio, and he hosts on the Manhattan Neighborhood Network. He has a show called So Much to Talk About. I like that name. So much to talk about. There is so much to talk about.
Yes. A lot.
And we have a lot to talk about today. But one of the biggest things we got to talk about is you got an album coming out, and it's your debut album.
Yes, sir.
It's coming out. Electric or eclectic?
Eclectic.
I didn't want to mess that up.
That's
I was thinking electric relaxation. But eclectic excursions.
Yes, sir.
Which I like, because that's why Tribe has a song called Electric Relaxations and Excursions, and I kind of was mixing that.
And
up.
you really like Tribe.
And of course.
That's I know you do too. We both love Tribe.
Queens, baby.
Yeah.
Queens,
all three of us like Tribe.
Yeah. So you have this album coming out. It drops July 20th?
July 20th.
July 20th is the album. 2 singles are out already. Second one with Elzai. It's a little, you can say, I'm going to say this, I'm going to probably put your age out here a little bit. It was a little late in the game for you to have a debut album.
Yeah.
But you've done it. How excited are you to have your first solo album coming out now?
Well, it's very exciting because I kind of would be hard on myself that I didn't have an album. I didn't have something that represented my voice, representing what I create, represent my experiences. I would be. It was a frustrating, kind of frustrating to me. Like I would be hard on myself, that I didn't have that, because a lot of other musicians, they came out with albums in their 20s, and I tried to, I did an EP like when I was around 27, 28, but I wasn't happy with it at all. And I haven't even listened to it. I should listen to it now and see how it sounds. I may put it out, and if I like it now, you never know. But or
remix it.
But just I've been involved I've been over 20 years. I've been in the jazz world. I've been performing and performing with a lot of different musicians, and it's so many interests, I think, too, through my 30s, getting into the sports business, because growing up, sports and music were my two passions, If I wasn't practicing, then I was watching a game or playing outside, So it was funny that I wanted to get into sports, after I was on Stump the Schwab, ESPN. I won that. I said, hey, I know just as much as the people that are on television. I
know of Stump the Schwab.
Yeah. But no, I just saw how his eye raised. I knew that, 'cause you told me that years ago, so I didn't know that. It was like, oh wow.
Oh yeah.
So, but musically though, there were so many things going on in my life, and I just wanted to explore different passions of mine and everything, and then I felt now was the time to do an album. I felt I learned so much from the standpoint of organizationally, promotionally, financially. I had so many, a few great investors help me in this project, and which was great, and I feel like I'm more mature as not just a musician, not just as a composer and an artist, but more mature as a person. And that helped me be able to execute this project in the way that I wanted to, and everything has gone according to plan, really.
Yeah, so we've talked about like album length and album promotion and things like that, Dexter's kind of somebody who leads on the side of, oh, if you have something, just sort of drop it. And you also like shorter albums, and we're seeing a trend now where artists put together shorter albums, and they're sort of just coming out with projects like out of the blue, unannounced. So you're obviously taking time to promote it. So how do you feel about that? Do you feel like you're going about it the right way, or?
Great question. I thought about this actually, and it's something that I want to do in the future, like putting shorter projects out and everything like that.
And just come out right with it?
Yeah, because now, and do a little bit of promotion, like kind of, you know, like, but I feel, you know, for me, I need to build more of a name, a mainstream name, you know, like from that standpoint to do that. And I think eventually I will do that. I would want to bring out EPs and things like that. That's important. But I think that's a good trend to do because, you know, it keeps artists relevant, kind of, you know, like, for example, the Black Thought EP, it's just 17 minutes, but it's finally something that.
Did you love it?
Oh, my God.
Yeah. I knew you would.
Well, but I mean, you know, I got to say one thing about the Black Thought EP, like bars galore. Don't get me. I mean, of course, you know, but no hooks, no like we just got to get a little bit of a song going.
You still like the structure and songs?
I do, yeah.
So do I, but I still can appreciate the.
Oh no, just straight. Straight spinning. Oh, no doubt. What do you? Oh, but it's like, to me, it's like 4 3/4 stars, a 4 3/4 mics, you know, the 1/4 I take off is just, you know, just if he had more diversity of songwriting and things like that. That's the only thing, you know.
I think that's fair to that. And so I want to ask you, because I'm also into titles. I want to know like the concepts behind their projects, and this is called Eclectic Excursion.
Yes, sir.
Why that name? What's the inspiration? Is there a concept behind it, if even at all? It doesn't have to be, but is there? Oh yeah, major concept. I was influenced with this record because, first of all, usually jazz records, you know, I hate to categorize, but records of improvised music. Yes. You know, usually it's the same band. Usually it's the same quintet with a couple of guests, you know. I wanted to do completely different from the standpoint I had around 25 musicians on this project, and different musicians, different denominations on each track, different instrumentation each track. Because I'm influenced by the Quincy Jones records, you know, like the Walking in Space, the Dude, Body Heat, you know, those albums. Oh, Back on the Block, even, where all types, scopes of black music, you know, scopes of jazz, pop, gospel, funk, you know, hip hop, everything like that. That's what I was really inspired by, like how Quincy Jones produces records. So I wanted to come up with that concept. Eclectic excursions, eclectic meaning so many different, not just different styles and genres of music, but different personalities and voices of the musicians I had. So eclectic, and then excursions, you go, you know, on that journey, where you don't know what you're gonna come up with, you know. So that was the concept I had in that. And I'm blessed to have all the musicians. I'm going to mention the musicians real quick. I got to mention all of them. Like Sam Barsh, producer of the album, as well as keyboardist. He co-wrote the song "The Man" by Aloe Block. He co-wrote that. Really? Yeah. So he's but a tremendous improviser, and he's done stuff with Anderson .Paak and with Kendrick. Joey Badass.
Album of the Year,
guys.
Malibu,
so
when it came out.
He's worked with a lot of people we like.
Exactly.
That's
you know,
cool.
and so Sam's my producer, and then Adam Klippel, another keyboardist from Memphis, Tennessee, great keyboardist. Then on bass, I had the great Christian McBride, who I work with in his big band. He made an appearance. Also Ben Williams, another good young bassist, killing bassist,
yes, who I know of too.
From Washington, D.C. Yep. And also as well, Brad Jones, my mentor back at Home School of the Arts. He was my mentor back in 1991 when I was in high school, you know, and I've worked with him ever since, and one of them, very underrated bassist, doesn't get the recognition he deserves. So, and also Kaveh Rastegar from Nabate, the group Nabate, and he's a good friend of mine. We went to college together, and he's one of the baddest electric bassists in the world, and he plays with John Legend in his band. And then drums, I had Jonathan Blake, the great Jonathan Blake from Philadelphia, as well as Nate Smith, who was Grammy nominated himself this past year, you know, with his group Kinfolk.
A lot of resume.
Yes, sir. Yes, indeed. And then also, and then guitar, David Gilmour, who I met through Steve Coleman, worked with him through Steve Coleman. Then we've worked together for so many years. And then also, I don't want to forget Elena Penderhughes, one of the great young musicians out there. She's an excellent flautist. She plays on a couple of tracks. And then, for horns, you had Jaleel Shaw from Philadelphia, great alto saxophone player. Lawrence Sevian, baritone saxophonist, tremendous player. Frank Lacey, a legend.
Yes.
Goomba Frank Lacey, Roots. One of the last directors, musical directors for Art Blakey, was on it. Also, Stacey Dillard, great tenor saxophonist and soprano saxophone player. Jimmy Owens, who my mentor, my musical father, who I had to make sure he was on the track for this album. And then I had a string quartet as well. Frederica Cryer, Amy Bateman, Eric Stevenson, and Beth Myers. Eric and Beth, we went to Eastman together as well. And then 2 outstanding young singers by name of Alita Moses, who she's featured on Find Your Light, the first single.
Yep.
As well as Michael Mayo, who is featured on a classic called Strange Fruit, Billie Holiday classic. So Michael's just incredible, and Alita, she's incredible, and also and as well Elzai, the great MC Elzai, Laid Back, and then Jordan from Canada, singer, was on the album too. And I hope I did not forget anyone else, and I don't think I did. Yeah, I don't think I did.
Well, that's a good job.
So
all right, Elzai.
Yes sir.
Bars.
Galore.
How did that happen?
Wow, I gotta say, it's so funny. Elzai, I met him at SOBs when he did a show at SOBs back in 2012, and it's so funny. I wasn't hip to Elzai until more like 2007, 2008 when he came out with the preface.
Yeah,
with that
around the same time.
Before, and that was right after Slum Village, you know, and stuff. And my friend Glenn Floyd Stewart, good friend of mine, and he lives in Abu Dhabi now with his wife Tamara. He hit me to Elzai, hit me to all, the real MCs. And I've always, but I mean the underground MCs, you know. So Elzai, I've been a fan of his, one of my favorite lyricists, and just the wordplay this cat has is incredible. And so what happened was, met him at SOBs, and then, I would see him around a little bit when he was in the city, but then I saw that he was managed by Glow 365. Jay Barber managed him, and Jay Barber and I have talked and stuff like that, on musical things. And I contacted Jay, and I was like, hey, I want to have Elzai on this track. He said, send me the track. And the track Laid Back was a beat that I did a few years back, it was a beat. And I always said that when I do my debut album, I want to have live instrumentation play that, and we'll make it happen. And there's also 2 drums on there. Jonathan Blake and Nate Smith playing 2 drums. Yeah, 2 drums. At the same time, you don't even really...
I really noticed that. Now I got to really listen again.
One more person, Alacoy Pete on percussion on the album too. LA cat.
And he's on that track too.
He isn't on that track, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned his name. I didn't want to forget Alacoy. Mike Holden, great MC as well. So
is Elzai the only rapper on the album?
Yes, only rapper on the album.
And he didn't come halfway either.
We heard.
He gave you 2 verses, and they were both hard.
Yes.
Pause.
Yes.
If you haven't heard that, you gotta hear that. Laid Back, the single is really good. Before we go to break, let's just also talk a little bit. You also produce for NBA Radio for Sirius XM.
Yes.
You are in the music world and you're in the sports journalism, broadcasting world, if you would say that. How is it? I've known you doing both for a long time. I also do a lot of stuff.
Yes, indeed. Oh man, that's so man.
But how is it doing both for you as a musician and being in sports world? And talk to us a little about what you do at NBA Radio.
Well, NBA Radio, I produce the evening drive show NBA Today with the craziest host that you'll ever work with, very much Justin Termini and Eddie Johnson. Eddie Johnson, former 6th Man of the Year award winner.
Wait,
those cats.
So wait, I'm sorry. You produced the show where Bruce Bowen just went off on Kawhi?
Oh yeah. I was sitting right next to Bruce. Yeah, that was right. And you notice how Bruce, and you notice on the Twitter thing, he would look over to me, talking, because I was looking wow. Yeah. Oh wow, that's a whole nother. We'll talk about that later. I want to talk about the Kawhi situation actually. I have my take on that.
We're doing a lot of.
But back to what you do at NBA Radio.
But NBA Radio pretty much produced that show, and I work with the guys and book guests, of course, and make sure I structure everything with the show. And also they get me on the mic sometimes as well, so which is good for over-under segment that we did during the regular season that I created, which was cool. Yeah, it's great. And then, it's to your first question about balancing, it's difficult. It's difficult, for sure. And it's very difficult because, real quickly, because you have to be at a high level for both, and you have to put a lot of time into both.
Yeah.
And I feel like I don't have enough hours in the day at times, and it's tough because it's like I strive for perfection, and it's really tough, but it's rewarding because it's two things I love to do and two things I love to be a part of and two things I'm passionate about.
Well, you're doing a great job of it. And
you.
Hey, you got a Grammy, man.
Yes.
So that's always
both
good.
for Christian McBride's Big Band. Yes,
McBride's
indeed.
Big Band.
2 for 2.
Two for two.
Both the Big Band albums won Grammys.
Where do you keep the Grammy?
Yeah. Oh, well, we get like a certificate. Because Christian gets a Grammy. He gets a Grammy. Yeah, but we can get the Grammy if you. I think you have to. If you can.
Certain things you do in the. I know how it works.
You get it for this project.
Yeah, that's right. I want that.
All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna talk with Nabate more. He mentioned the Kawhi Leonard. We're gonna talk about NBA stuff since that's what he does, and jazz and hip hop, how that all fuses together. We'll talk about that more when we come back on the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. What's up, listeners? You know sometimes how it can be hard just to get from point A to point B. Now, when I have to get anywhere and I don't want to deal with the hassle of public transportation, it ain't hard to tell how I get around. I always make sure to use the best car service app in the game. I'm talking about Lyft. Lyft offers rides in minutes. All you have to do is download the Lyft app, request a ride, and you will be on your way quickly. Lyft is all about happy riders and happy drivers. Take a ride with them and you'll see why 9 out of 10 rides end up with a 5-star rating. Lyft always has amazing offers for new customers, and I'm here to tell our listeners about a great offer today. Lyft is currently offering free ride credit to Ain't Hard to Tell listeners. If you are new to Lyft, then you are eligible, and getting your credit is easy. All you have to do is download the app and use the promo code AHTTPOD to unlock your free credit today. Ain't hard to tell who has the best car app service, so use the code today and ride out loud with Lyft. The best new sports web series is here. It's from Backpack Broadcasting, and it's called The Sports Walk. The Sports Walk is a series where diverse sports fans take a walk and share their views at the intersection of sports and society. The entire first season is now available on Backpack Broadcasting's YouTube channel and backpackbroadcasting.com. See what other sports fans have to say about a variety of issues in the world of sports. Watch all 13 episodes from season 1 and take The Sports Walk today. Our guest, Nabaté Isles, Grammy Award-winning musician, and we are hoping he gets another one for his album that comes out on July 20th. Eclectic Excursions. Check out the 2 singles that are out right now. You can catch them all platforms, right? That's Apple Music, Spotify, iTunes, everything. Everywhere.
Yes, indeed. Google Play.
People know that. He's also an NBA producer. We're going to talk a little NBA with him right now for Sirius XM Radio is what he does. This is probably one of the I don't know how exciting this free agency period is going to be.
It's more stressful than exciting.
That might be the good word, Nabate, because I don't know if there's going to be the action that people think is. Well, I'm saying this, but what do you think? Do you think we're going to see a lot of action? And who's going to kick it off? Is LeBron making the first move? Is PG-13 making the first move? What's happening here?
Yeah, I think, first of all, the Kawhi Leonard situation is where that's going to be, that's the barometer of, like, if Kawhi is traded because the Spurs are looking to, as we all know, Kawhi's done with the Spurs. They're done with each other. Yeah. At least they spoke. And at least they,
Reportedly. You ever heard him talk?
No, he did meet with Pop. They did meet. Yeah. But
we haven't heard.
I'm just saying because he,
Kawhi says nothing.
Well, not
like
in public.
Bruce Bowen said more than Kawhi. You know this.
Well, when the lights on, but in private conversation,
it's like when Bomani Jones says, "You ever heard Kawhi talk?" And then
you're like, "Oh, Kawhi just stays
quiet."
But
you think that's kind of the first? You think that's the biggest shoe that needs to drop?
Yeah, okay. Absolutely, because that determines whether LeBron joins LA, or wherever Kawhi is traded. I mean, well, obviously he won't go to Boston. If Kawhi is traded to Boston, LeBron won't go to Boston.
Nobody better go to Boston.
But I gotta tell you, he would fit.
He would. I just don't.
Incredibly
And
well.
they have the assets.
Yeah.
I just don't want that in my life.
Oh yeah,
I don't
know,
want
right?
to deal
like
with
23 James, like a Celtics, like green.
I don't want to deal with the Celtics winning.
I gotta say they're the favorites though in the East. That's it.
They
Especially
are.
yeah, that's they look.
They got a lot of good young talent.
Yeah, and
Come
when
on, Philly.
Haywood and Irvin will be back. Oh my goodness, it's
Yeah,
great.
I don't know if we need that in our lives. I don't want that.
We don't. We've been to Boston on St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah. Oh, forget
That's a whole
that.
other
Yeah, that's a whole
accident.
Like our producer Matt's laughing. Don't ever bring that up.
I love bringing that
He loves
story
that.
up.
So let me ask you a question. So with all that being said, where, all right, right now we're recording this. This is June 29th. So this is before July 1st, folks, if you're listening. Where do you think LeBron's going? If I hate the gun to your head term, but if you had to bet.
Okay, check this out.
Lakers.
If Kawhi is with the Lakers, he's going to the Lakers. If Kawhi does not get traded to the Lakers, I think it's Houston.
You think Houston will find a way to clear that cap space?
Yeah.
I'd rather Houston.
And unfortunately, they're gonna have to let Capella go to get LeBron. Because they're not going to be able to afford. And then also they're going to have to trade.
LeBron.
And also they can't resign. They can't resign Ariza, and also they'll have to trade PJ Tucker. Yeah, they're going to have to clear. But I see because and then also too, Carmelo already opted into his.
But he could be bought out or stretched.
and I could see Carmelo joining them in Houston as well.
You know what?
Ooh,
Like
banana
yeah,
boat action.
yeah, exactly. And then D Wade, he's a free agent.
That's just too much.
But you know what? But at some point, and this is everyone saying this, at some point, everybody thinks that they're going to get together. When would be a better time than now when they can actually make this work, right? I just don't know if that's going to happen. I'm more stressed out about the LeBron situation because it just sounds like he's going to the Lakers. Stuff about
They
his
all
kid.
some of them could go to the Lakers too.
His kid enrolling to school and him getting a new crib out there, and he already has a crib out there. I don't know. His businesses that he wants to do in LA, it just sounds like he's going to the Lakers, and I don't want to deal with Celtic fans, with Laker fans.
You don't want to deal with anybody.
Yeah, but
I could tolerate Rocket.
But Laker fans better chill out because the
It's
Golden
those two-
State Warriors are still, See, that's
the thing,
so
but with
that's-
LeBron, it's like, why go out west?
Guess what? I know why. Because people have always said about the Eastern Conference being weak. 8 straight finals, not really a big deal. Eastern Conference.
It was so weak they
This-
beat him.
But that's the thing. Like, so he can say like, I'm going west to try to enhance my legacy. And he can kind of go on that angle.
I mean, if he does,
You know what? You know what? You know
So-
what? I think, and this is not going to happen. This is never going to happen. But I have said for maybe a year or two that the thing would enhance his legacy
Don't
the
do
most.
it. Don't do it. Don't go where I think you're gonna go.
Uh-oh.
You don't
What is
dare say that he's going to play at the Garden.
Nabate.
Oh,
Nabate,
that would
you
be a
already
dream. That would be a dream. But
Listen, but look, here's the thing though.
like,
It's
Knicks fans
right.
are gonna come
It's
at
more. It's more than if you were to go to LA and just Kobe's been there, Kareem's
I don't
been there,
disagree
Will's
with
been
you.
there, everybody's been
It's not
there.
gonna happen.
and guess what?
Shaq's been there.
And I
But
got-
here's the thing that would enhance his legacy the most.
Bringing
agree.
That
I don't
one
think-
ring in New
Bringing
York.
the title. Oh, he's the greatest of all
It'll
time.
be like,
Yeah.
it'll be
It's-
like
yeah.
he has 7 rings.
Right.
Do
Yeah.
you realize what you guys have done now? Every Knicks fan is listening
Your
to
heart
this
can't
podcast.
stop beating.
Their heart can't stop.
No, but it's true, and I'm not a Knicks fan. I'm just a New Yorker by trade, by heart. I'm from here.
You sound excited though.
I'm not a Knicks. That would be exciting.
But I
though.
think with KP getting hurt, that messed it up. That's the only
Any
thing.
chances of that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
messed.
Any
That
chances of
Here's
that
messed.
the thing.
Yeah,
here's the thing.
yeah.
What I think LeBron should do is, what I would like for him to stay in Cleveland, but that's just not going to happen. And Colin Cowherd, who I don't always agree with, I give him credit for pointing this out. He could retire until February and then kind of see, because none of these situations really look ideal right now.
And then
to
rest
join.
with all the minutes that he's logged, like
'cause
50,000
if you
minutes.
add it up,
and,
if you add it up with all the playoff series and all the playoff games that he's played, that's 3 extra seasons onto his career, 3 extra full seasons. So really, he's played the equivalent of an 18-year career, someone who came out of high school and someone who's going to turn 34 in December, the same day as Tiger Woods' birthday, by the way.
And played amazing basketball last year. So let me ask you, we said all this, we talked about LeBron. We got
What,
the,
Matt?
We got the
You
Knicks
didn't like
fans
Tiger
excited.
Woods?
We got the Knicks fans excited. What do you think this leaves Paul George?
Okay.
Oh,
now,
wait.
I think
Let me tell you real quick. Because I brought this up and I want to see what you think about this. The My Journey thing. So they're showing My Journey. They're following him on ESPN, right? And he's basically on one episode. It was like the most recent one. And he's talking about, it's always been my dream to play with the Lakers. You know, I've always dreamt about. I didn't dream about playing in Indiana. I didn't dream about playing in Oklahoma City. He couldn't have because they weren't around. I dreamt about playing with the Lakers because I'm from LA. So do you think that he's going to Los Angeles? Because I pretty much think that, not even after watching that, but he's been giving it away for like 1 or 2 years that he wants to be.
Well, I think
people around him.
I think he stays in Oklahoma City if Kawhi doesn't get there, you know, and if LeBron doesn't get there. Like I think he wants. I don't think he wants to go to the Lakers by himself. You know what I mean? As the guy, you know,
Which he questioned on the show
because he's not a number one option.
He said that
he's a number 2 on the championship team. Is the number 2.
Yeah, when he was having wine with Dwayne Wade, he was talking about how with me, Dwayne Wade was telling him, for me it was all about winning. Like people think that me and LeBron had this plan all along, which they did, and then they just basically. Like, they basically orchestrated that when he was like, no, we just wanted to try the best case scenario to win, and it just happened to be in Miami.
Yep.
So with Paul George, he's kind of weighing, like, I love the Lakers. I've always loved the Lakers, but is that the best case scenario for winning right now with Lonzo Ball?
But thinks that a lot of it has to do on what chips fall first. So you think that he's the guy that kind of waits here?
He's going to wait.
What do you think?
He's going to wait. And then Oklahoma City
I think?
Yes.
And might as well stay there. If you'll be with Russ, and he gets along with Russ. So it's
does he get along with Russ?
Yeah,
they do.
They
have a
really
good relationship.
Okay. I wasn't trying to be funny.
No, it's supposed. I think I'm with Nabate. I think it's about a lot what falls first. Now, the thing I find interesting about the whole Lakers Spurs thing is who really has the leverage here, and does a deal get done soon within the first few days of free agency. And I do agree. I think what happens with Kawhi is going to set a lot of this stuff in motion. If I'm LeBron, I'm waiting to see what happens to Kawhi.
Right.
If I'm PG, I'm waiting to see what happens to Kawhi. The thing I think about PG, when Nabate's spot on, is I think he recognizes that he's not that guy, right, to be on his own. And that's kind of cool. It's kind of nice when somebody's like, I'm really good, but I'm not that dude. And I think he's somebody who can accept that and will play the sidekick role and be fine.
And also, that's another thing. One thing with PG, he prides himself on defense. So
Absolutely.
It's like for him to be a two-way guy and have to do that, that's why he's like,
I was going to say.
Because he wants to be that lockdown guy in crunch time the last 5 minutes. You know what I mean? Instead of then having to find offense as well. That's like, it wore him down in Indiana. It did wear him down a little bit.
Him and LeBron needs that too. Because he's been having, look how much he's had to do.
And Kawhi.
Exactly. Look how much they've had to do. Good
Paul
point.
George, and I agree with that because I was going to say Paul George may not want to try to be that dude because he knows he's going to be overexerting himself. Remember, he's been through this in Indiana. A few years ago when Indiana was really good and they really wanted home field advantage, home court advantage, and they wanted that one seed, he was their guy. Therefore, he had to overexert himself the most. And by the time they ran into Miami in the playoffs, they were pretty tired.
Yeah. So they took him 7 games.
So it's like anything else in life. You live and you learn, and you learn through those experiences. So Paul George, I feel like he's learned from that, and he's like, yo, I want, if not players that are better than me on my team, I want more help.
He wants to be defensive.
I can't fault him for doing that.
He wants to be defensive.
You're just not getting it with the Lakers.
I mean, he could. Or playing with Kawhi. All them guys could do it.
Yeah.
If he goes to the Lakers, he's gonna have to wait at least a year before they're serious.
So real quick, I want to get from Nabate before we move on to some hip hop. You obviously the draft was just recently happened.
We could do hip hop next segment.
Did you like that? We got to talk about some Knicks because the Knicks. I don't think I've talked. I don't know if I've.
You're a Knicks fan, Nabate?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
all right, so you guys are both Knicks fans.
We're both long-suffering Knicks fans. Suffering.
Suffering.
Did you like what the Knicks?
Heroin's good,
like
allegedly.
What the Knicks did with Knox, and do you think the Knicks are going to do what they should do, in my opinion, this all season, which is stay pretty quiet, and not do much?
I think, I love both picks because Kevin Knox is steady. The thing was that Michael Porter Jr. The Denver Nuggets were the perfect team to take the risk on Michael Porter Jr. because they have talent and they're already a playoff team basically. But with Porter Jr., the thing is that you don't know. He still potentially could be a perennial all-star. I mean, he was still like the #1 player in the country, in his class, high school class. But you couldn't risk that. You needed someone like a Kevin Knox who's steady, gives you steady production. He can grow into a stretch
Got
four.
some upside.
He's 6'10", he can grow to 6'10", 6'11". could shoot, has great range. He reminds me of Tobias Harris, steady offensive player. The Knicks need steady offense right now, especially with KP not being around for the first half of the season. They need steady offense. And Mitchell Robinson could be steal of the draft. Like, he's had a controversial journey and everything like that, but he's someone that at 7 feet athlete, could do defensively, could rim run. Like, he's someone that
looks like a Clint Capella kind of type.
Oh man, he could be.
I'm not trying to get people too excited, but he seems like he potentially could be that.
Clint Capella, like Rudy Gobert type of player, not as defensively oriented as Rudy, but like he can be someone special. Mitchell Robinson, and remember, he was a top 10 player in his class. In his high school class.
Probably like 2-3 weeks before the draft, even. He was projected
as a late first rounder. Yeah, basically.
Mid first rounder. He was like right after the lottery. He was in that 17, 18 range.
I saw some of that.
Yeah. So, you don't know.
So you think the Knicks
anyway.
Very good draft. Good young players to build on. But I think they need to get bad contracts for 2020, because they have Noah's contract. They need to try to find a way to get Dang's contract.
Do what the Nets are doing.
Yeah. And then Courtney Lee's contract goes to 2020.
Well, he's a tradable
and he's tradable. And his contract isn't that bad, But I think the Knicks need to build on these. So then 2020, that free agency class, because remember as well, too, that's the 4 years after people overspent in 2016.
So now a lot of other teams, including like the Knicks, who spent and some bad contracts, that money's going to come back. So you might have been in the camp of me that would have moved up in the draft if you could have to take Memphis's pick to get Doncic, who I love, and take Chandler Parsons' contract. I would have done that deal in a heartbeat.
Even 2 years of Chandler Parsons' contract.
Yeah, because you're not going to do anything.
You're not going to win anyway. You're not going to win anyway.
I do have a question for you though. What do you think about the reporting going on around this time of year, which we've talked about, and we joke about bad reporting all the time?
Yes,
because
I know where he's going.
Obviously, we know the game. But a lot of people, it just sounds like they're putting stuff out there just for the sake of putting stuff out there, like a source close to person X, whether it's Kawhi, LeBron, Paul George, tells me that he's reached out to this person and they would like to play together and, schematically just whatever.
Yeah.
Do you think people are just putting stuff out here?
Well, I even think that question is better for Nabate because you work with two guys who were in the NBA who have some connections to people in the league, whether it's in the front office or other players. And when former players or current players see these bogus reports, because we know there's some crappy reporting out there.
There's some good stuff, but there's
journalists who do fantastic jobs. When you see it, like, does that bother you? Or you kind of like scared about, like Brian's asking, are you concerned about the information that's going out there?
Yeah, it's like that's the problem now with social media. It's like, whoa, what in the world? Like, it's like,
do you laugh at it?
Too much. Yeah, I do laugh at it. It's just too much, It's just too much speculation.
Yeah.
And I think that's that shouldn't go out like with text messages or private conversation. That shouldn't go out at all. That's
unless you get like consent, like, yo, do you mind if I? Because I've done that.
And Eddie Johnson on the show on the NBA Today said he thought it was bad journalism to put that out. That's bad journalism.
Who put that? Who put?
Not gonna mention the name.
All right.
I
legitimately don't remember.
But that was his. And I'm saying like, hey, they have a job to do too, into trying to put out information and to try to keep people engaged and keep people wondering in their minds what's happening.
But the thing is, like, if my thing is this: if you don't have the information, don't put out information. Like, that's a pretty simple science.
Right. Or if you do have the information, like, be selective on what
you're putting out. But I think you hit the nail on the head in that.
Like
but this doesn't matter.
The boy that cried wolf. You know what I mean?
Right. But it doesn't matter because anything you say can get you retweets and followers. Because next week could go. It could be the one.
That's what Nabate's saying, and that's
the thing. That's why I meant, because if you get the retweets and followers, people are gonna follow you because they think you have information, and it's like, yo, go, subscribe to this that I'm doing while you're here.
We're in that age.
We are in that age. All right, we're gonna take a break. We're gonna come back for the last break. We're gonna talk about some hip hop, how it's been fusing with jazz, how people are liking that. I know we love that. That's kind of how we got into hip hop. We'll talk about that more when we come back on Ain't Hard to Tell podcast.
Sports Guru is the place where fans talk about sports via video. All videos are 60 seconds or shorter. Sports Guru makes the video look more professional and fun by adding automated on-screen graphics. You can follow your favorite sports by team, trending, new, or by people you follow, and more. Type in the title of your video and it will auto-magically go into your on-screen graphics. It's just that simple. tag your teams, and publish sports. Let's talk sports.
It ain't hard to tell where to get the latest merchandise from Backpack Broadcasting. Gear is now available via TeePublic. Visit the Backpack Broadcasting TeePublic online store to get shirts, hoodies, mugs, and phone cases. Represent your favorite Backpack Broadcasting shows, including the Sports Walk, Sideline Stories, and of course, the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. Check out the special offers for our podcast listeners at http://t.pub/lic/backpack. Get in the game with your official Backpack Broadcasting gear today.
All right, we are back. Ain't Hard to Tell podcast, episode 35. Our guest, Nabaté Isles, Grammy award-winning trumpeter. I almost wish you had brought your trumpet with you, man.
Oh,
yeah. Play some stuff here.
Next time I will. Yeah, absolutely.
Next time, we'll get Brian to kick a freestyle over the trumpet.
I can do that. I'll write one. I can do that encore line.
I ain't doing it off the top of the head because I'm just gonna be cursing and mother effing everybody.
So what I wanted to get into is that jazz. If we just get into jazz and not to specify before we go into some hip hop, I've gotten to see you perform live twice. I told you about once I saw you with your quartet, and then I saw you play with Christian McBride, which that was just a dope experience in itself.
Thank you.
It's interesting because I've thought about the times I've gone out. I'm a jazz and hip hop head, but I've gone to various jazz shows, including your own, and it still always seems to be a lot of an older crowd. You know, and one of the things I wanted to ask you for this podcast is how do you think jazz is resonating with the younger generation? Because I got into jazz because of my dad. My dad played a lot of jazz on Sundays. He worked in his car.
That's right.
And that kind of shaped a lot of the hip hop that I turned to love.
Yes.
And we had this conversation a couple of years ago at the bar about hip hop samples, so we're going to get into that in a second with jazz. But like, do you think jazz is growing as a art form, as a genre? Do you feel it's growing? Do you think it's connecting with the younger audience, or does it have to?
Wow, great question. I think the art form is in good hands from the standpoint of creativity because there's so many young musicians that,
and doing some dope stuff.
18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I mean, these cats are really, because they're taking advantage of what we were talking about, the age of technology. They're taking advantage of that because YouTube, I didn't come up with YouTube. You know, I came up pretty much, I would get albums, vinyl. My father had vinyl, CDs, because he did a radio show on WBAI for 8 years called Musical Expression. So that's what got me into the music.
Okay.
And my mother had, all types of vinyl, not just jazz, but for the classic R&B and hip hop. Excuse me, R&B, funk, and soul. She's not a hip hop fan. So, but definitely, it's interesting that I think the music is in great hands creatively. The problem is there's so many of us that are around. It's for lack of a better term, it's oversaturated. Because that's the thing. But the thing is that there in the jazz community, it's all about there needs to be more community and being able to push each other's products out better. That's the thing, and also being able to know how to market and promote. There's a lack of that going on to the mainstream because a lot of there's still a lot of elitists out there that feel like, oh, we're going to do this and this is what it is, take it or leave it. But you still have to have, you still have to be able to captivate audiences because we need more young brothers and sisters being able to listen to the music and want to play it. And if they don't play it, be avid listeners of it and avid supporters of it. So you have to make it more accessible.
So with that being said, do you like the things that people like Robert Glasper have done where they tried to have that fusion of hip-hop with jazz? Because I've really enjoyed Glasper's projects in that because I like that sound with hip hop, and then obviously what you did on your single with Elzai sort of bringing that together, and you might even get I know Brian's probably not as big as a jazz head as the two of us, but not trying to diss him on that, but I'm saying Brian likes Elzai, so I'm just saying in that regards that brings him in, and he's like, yo, I really like it. So you like that kind of thing and think that's good for the genre?
I think that is, fusion is always, because the genre has always had fusion. Basically, when you think about it, you had bebop, was a lot of mixture of some classical elements of harmony, stuff like that, like a lot of progressions, like so bebop can, still bebop, and it had like a very technical style of music, just like virtuosic classical music, like a concerto type of classical music. Then you had, of course, like the jazz and blues mix, the jazz and gospel and jazz and like from the '60s Blue Note records, Lou Donaldson and Jimmy Smith and et cetera, Cannonball Adderley, all those cats, that mixed, funk and jazz. And then you had like jazz and Latin fusion, from back in the 40s with Dizzy and Dizzy Gillespie and, everything like that, like all that mix. And so,
it's always
and of course, Miles and Herbie with jazz, funk, and rock. So, jazz has always been merged together. It's always been, because remember, this music is the originator. Jazz and blues is the originator, while all the other styles are more of the children, the nieces and nephews, So that's the thing. So I think with jazz and hip hop, that has to happen, because hip hop comes from jazz. All the samples that create the sonic sound of hip hop comes from those jazz records.
Absolutely.
So absolutely.
That's something I definitely love.
Yeah.
About it.
Speaking of hip hop, from what I understand, you're a hip hop head.
Yes, indeed.
What's your, I guess, I don't know, favorite era, or your, like, do you go back and listen to old school hip hop more? Do you like today's hip hop at all? Because I know Dexter can't really tolerate some of the stuff that comes out now.
Some of the stuff.
In fairness to you, I can't tolerate some of the stuff that comes out now. What was your boy's album? Famous Dex.
Let me say something really quick. The other day,
it's your podcast.
I was in Walgreens and I'm buying something. I was getting like Pampers.
Did someone ask you if you're Famous Dex?
No, but it's close to that. And I paid for whatever, and so because I put in my card, the person probably saw my rewards card, they saw my name. So but I was wearing the World Is Yours Nas hat.
No.
And I also had on.
Where the hell is this called?
I had on a hip hop T-shirt. I don't remember what I was wearing. So the person says to me, he's like, when I'm walking out, the dude behind the register is like, "Yo, so you like that album?" I was wearing a Black Star T-shirt, so I thought he was talking about either Black Star, because I had the album cover of that on.
Right.
There's a lot of great jazz samples on it.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Or
Illmatic from World
right? So I'm thinking, I'm like, Black Star? He's like, oh, nah, the Famous Dex album. And I was like, nah, man, I don't mess with Famous Dex like that. And the dude's face, he looked so hurt. Like,
wait, was he a young dude? Like,
yeah. Then he asked me,
he had to have been
He's like,
young.
how old are you? So I said, I'm 35, and he was 25. And he was like,
how you know he was 25?
And he was like, oh, but I like Mos Def and, huh?
How you know he was 25?
I asked him.
Oh.
Yeah, and he was like, oh, I like Mos Def and Quality too. But he was like, yo, that Famous Dex though, Dex versus Dex, you gotta check that out. And I was like, yeah.
But I love the thought of that, because I love when you're put in situations like that, because you kind of just navigate it. Like, you're very smooth with getting out of that stuff, but it's just very funny to me see you put in that.
About it
yes.
So that's it.
Because you can't be like, yo, like, nah.
Because he mentioned that, I hijacked your question. The question for you was, how do you feel about, when you said, what hip hop did Nabate like to get into?
Yes.
And how do you feel about today's
Do you
hip-hop?
like Famous Dex?
I mean, I never listened to that.
No disrespect.
But I heard, but no, I think, okay, well, the era for me, 88 to 99, pretty much. That's like the era, like pretty much what got me into hip hop was Public Enemies. It takes a nation.
What made you fall in love?
Yeah, it takes a nation and millions to hold us back, because the message they projected in that, on that record, on that album, the message, because really it was really what's going on. A lot of black males were being beaten up, or being assaulted or killed at that time. You had Yusuf Hawkins, all those
even before Rodney King.
Yeah, right, before Rodney King, and the abuse. Of course, the gang related things going on in LA and everything. And so it was like what Public Enemy was preaching was just so refreshing. And also the symphony, Marley Marl, because I'm a Queens guy. That got me. And of course, G-Rap and Big Daddy Kane and Master Ace, it's like, whoa, like lyrics, bars, like that's what got me into hip hop. And KRS also too. The Bridge Is Over.
Oh yeah.
Because I'm a Queens cat, but I even liked it. I was like, whoa.
How did you feel when that dropped? Because I feel like Queens. And where are you from in Queens? What neighborhood are you from?
Lafayette City.
From Lafayette City.
Okay.
Corona.
I'm out in Ridgewood. So
okay.
I'm like kind of Queens. But,
okay, in the middle.
Yeah.
So like,
in the middle. I'm trying to tell this guy.
Nah, he's Queens. Yeah, so you talked about that. The bridge is over, and you felt that.
Yeah.
As a Queens cat, like you were like, no, it kind of came.
Exactly, at KRS, and just his message too, and also, self-destruction. That song really got me too. Just the messages, that was portrayed about, that uplift black folks, and so that's what got me into hip hop. But now the hip hop now,
yep.
It is we're in a new era. So, and let me tell you, the production is real. Like, for example, Bad and Bougie Migos, I'm not feeling the lyrics that much, but
that'd be nuts though.
That's what I'm saying. The production elements.
But that's what gets people
the
though.
Creativity, the production, yeah. Like
you know what I don't like about today's hip hop though?
We just need great lyrics over that production.
That too, because I've said on this podcast, I'm like, the thing that draws me to an artist before anything else is what they have to say.
Yeah.
Because I want to be able to know that even if you're going a cappella, I could feel you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I hate how
everything.
So we're today's June 29th as we're recording this.
Yes.
This is the day that Scorpion comes out with Drake, right?
Right.
And this isn't like involves Drake or anything, but my thing is with today's hip hop, as soon as an album drops, do we really have to go on Twitter and tweet out lyrics like at 12:05 a.m. 5 minutes after it drops?
It's a classic.
Be hype beasts about it already. I was Twitter searching Scorpion Classic, like from 11:45 to 12:05, just to sort of see the evolution of people already saying it's a classic before it came out and things like that. Because this is actually happening, and that bothers me a lot as a hip hop fan, because it's like we can't be doing this. Sky Zoo, who sat in the same seat when he was on our podcast.
Yeah, we had him on.
He was our first
guest.
Wow, yes.
Sky Zoo he said a bunch of things
big
that
time
resonated
sports
with
fan
me.
too. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, big Knicks fan.
That was He said albums are here today, gone today.
Yeah.
So I want to know, how do you feel about that as a musician? Because like a lot of things come and leave. Like, unless you're not that many people are smart. I say it a lot on this podcast. A lot of people are stupid. They're not going to have things resonate. So
right. No, you have to, like, for me, I have already thoughts. I'm already like have concepts ready.
You think about
for the next album.
Oh.
Yeah, I've already have a concept for that, and writing now for that. So that's the thing. You have to think about what's next for sure. Like that's important, because as an artist, you have to go to that next step and growth and maturation and go through a metamorphosis. That's
in terms of, because Brian brought up the word classic. In terms of hip hop albums, what's the last album that really you felt was classic and really hit your soul in hip hop?
The last album that came out.
The last hip hop album you listened to could be whenever, and you was like, man, that's a classic. That really hit my soul.
Classic. Okay, all right. Here's out Fonte's latest one.
That one. That is up there for me, hip hop album of the year right now, between him and Royce the 5'9".
Him and Royce the 5'9".
Those are my two. Those are the two best hip hop albums of this year. So you really I like Fonte's album a lot.
Oh man, Fonte's album, just the messages he has, and also like the diversity musically.
Yes,
I agree. He doesn't sing as much too, which he can sing. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying I like how he balanced it and stuff like that. Because with Foreign Exchange, you want him to sing for Foreign Exchange. You want him to do that.
And that new single that he's got out, June, is really good too.
Oh my God, and it's crazy.
And he has a Freddie Gibbs verse, Dexter.
And Freddie Gibbs.
Freddie Gibbs. Do you like Freddie Gibbs?
Freddie Gibbs, yeah. But I have to hear Freddie though. I have to hear Freddie. I haven't heard it yet.
You might not know from this podcast, it's long minute joke. Brian loves
Freddie Gibbs.
He loves Freddie Gibbs. I'm not anti Freddie Gibbs. I'm just not that enamored by him in that way. But I do think Freddie Gibbs can rap, and I do think he's good.
And it's
Matt's covering his face. Sky Zoo said the same thing.
And there's two other albums that really resonated.
This year? That came out this year?
Late last year.
Late last year. Okay, go ahead.
Rhapsodies.
Oh yeah, we love that album.
Rhapsodies album. You know what I'm saying? That. Wow. And also Saha the Prince, No Dope.
Yeah, we those were in our top albums.
Well, I won't be listening to that one that much. Because, he's kind of wilding now.
Saha, no. He's lyrical.
Big Crit. Did you like Big Crit's album?
I haven't listened to that yet, so I have to hear that.
It's long,
That's some
but
good jazz
it's
elements in it as well too.
Okay, yeah.
Big Crit is dope.
But I think that.
But back to Freddie Gibbs real quick.
No, but
I just want to know, like, what is your sort of analysis?
Yes, because anybody that can support what he likes, he's gonna love.
No, because I just with Dexter sitting here, I just want to know what you think.
No, he's a versatile MC, and I like and when I saw the trailer for
that was dope.
That
was
is
dope.
hilarious. So I wonder, and then the album cover too, like 80s.
And the Teddy Pendergrass pull off. That's great.
Teddy Pendergrass, Freddie Jackson,
it's great.
like that.
Yeah,
you know?
It's fantastic.
I actually have a separate question. So what do you think about, I guess, people are trying to figure out how to make money in music, right? Mm-hmm. So with streaming services like Spotify and things like that, obviously, like, it's different.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Freddie Gibbs is actually someone who said that he's making shorter albums now moving forward because he wants to replay it over and over. He feels like that'll give you more replay value. Mm-hmm. And then you have other people like Joe Budden, for example, discovering different ways to kind of make money outside of music and do things outside of music to be successful.
Right.
Where do you feel like all that's going as an industry in terms of dealing with the streaming services, trying to figure out the money that's being made, things of that nature?
That's a great point. It's just being, like, for me, I'm starting to research technology and research.
Right, because
like,
you do other things.
The new trends that's going on.
Just like journalism, you got to stay on top of it.
Right. And that's the thing.
And
that's
keep evolving.
Right, and that's why for this album, I wanted to make sure I created it and being able to put it out there, and you take advantage of digital platforms and things like that. But I know for my future projects, now with the research I'm doing and trying to acquire like information and trying to forecast what's going on next, you know, that's what I'm looking for now, to be, especially being improvised music. You know?
Because of the classic people in jazz. Will your album be on vinyl?
Yes. It will be released on vinyl.
Matt's gonna cop that.
Yeah.
He's a vinyl head over there.
I would say early fall.
I'm
trying to actually start up a vinyl collection, especially for jazz. So I'm definitely getting a copy of that on vinyl. For sure. I'm definitely gonna do that. Want to ask you before we go, one of the last, I think, great albums in my opinion that had such a strong jazz influence in terms of hip hop was Kendrick Lamar's "To Pimp a Butterfly."
Yeah, that's the best album of the century, of the 21st century.
I happen to agree with you. In terms of hip hop, I happen to agree with you.
Yes, indeed.
The last time you and I had like linked up and we had like drinks and some food, we spoke about. I remember because you watched like the Belmont Steaks that day, and
what the hell?
I remember that. It was random. We were talking about that album and just like how, you know, good it was, and how much as a jazz musician,
Kendrick Lamar and the Belmont Steaks.
Yeah, that's not two things that go together. Or black people watching.
Right. You know, unless it was back in the days when it was jockeys.
Jockeys,
But now jockeys make money. There's no black
because to be fair, we just met up to have drinks that day, have some food, and we just happened to be there. It wasn't like me and Nabate was like, "Yo, let's go watch the Belmont Steak." I don't think any black people were like, "Yo, let's go watch the Belmont Steak."
I was going to my high school reunion that day. That's what it was.
I remember that.
And remember, because that was won the Triple Crown that year, 2015.
Yes, it was the year, the first time, the longest time before this Triple Crown. I remember that. "To Pimp a Butterfly," Kendrick Lamar.
Yes.
How did that resonate with you as a musician to see such a prominent jazz sound on the album? Not sure we ever kind of really heard it that prominent in mainstream hip hop. How did that make you feel to hear that kind of album?
Yeah, live instrumentation. Yeah, because you definitely had jazz style records, you know, what No ID would do, or Dilla, or Tribe, of course, you know. But with live instruments other than the Roots and Stetsasonic. And Stetsasonic wasn't jazz, but more like groove based. But the Roots had that jazz influence. But yeah, with Kendrick's album, it was great to hear all those instrumental elements, you know, on the album, and then that swing, like that blues, that minor blues they did the second track, you know. That's and the message is deep, you know, and just amazing, and a lot of the top musicians on that. Sam Barsh, my producer on the album, he co-wrote "Institutionalized."
Yes,
you know,
which is my favorite song.
Yeah. So
Kaiser Very Tribe, and Glasper, Anderson .Paak with the vocals on there.
And Thundercat, and Kamasi Washington really emerged from that.
Yes. A great album. I love that. I love that album. Bryan wants to ask you a little bit of boxing before we get out of here.
Okay.
Oh my God, they are messing up this Deontay Wilder Anthony
Nah,
Joshua fight.
nah,
So,
it's percolating. I
you think they're just milking it? So
Yeah,
basically,
they're just letting it rock.
What's
Yeah.
happening is they didn't come to a deal again, and Anthony Joshua in September has already agreed to fight Alexander Povetkin, who Deontay Wilder was going to fight.
Right.
Went on a plane to fly to
Povetkin's
Russia
alive,
to fight him,
and he's a live dog too.
and Povetkin, who can beat Anthony Joshua, failed the drug test while Wilder was in Russia. He failed the drug test. I forget the name of the drug, but it is made to increase your stamina, which obviously in the heavyweight division and in boxing in general is a big deal.
Yeah, yeah.
So with that being said, you think they're milking it?
Yeah.
But you think it's going to happen?
Oh yeah, it
sometime
will.
next year?
Let it marinate.
Who do
Let
you
it
believe?
marinate.
And you like this?
I do, because I think it will make
I
it
don't.
even bigger. You know,
I don't.
'cause
I think
also
this
too-
happens too much.
But
And I think
also-
Anthony Joshua could get knocked out by Povetkin.
Yeah,
Like that dude is not.
You know
like-
what? Well, Joshua, that's the thing. Joshua, if he's focused and sticks to his game plan and stays on the outside with his jab and everything like that, keeps him at bay. That's important. That's because that's how he fought Joshua Parker. You know, same thing at bay. You know what I mean? So that's what he's gonna have to do.
I didn't think
like,
he looked great in that fight either.
well, Parker's tough to. He has a
good.
very tough
I've
style.
I've said
you know?
I've said for 2 years that Deontay Wilder would knock out Anthony.
No,
Joshua.
he wouldn't.
I
No,
think
he
he
wouldn't.
would.
I think his
Ooh,
skill.
I like
his
this.
no, I
Spicy.
think Joshua's skill set is better.
So?
And skill set.
I don't think that matters.
But versatility, being able to have A, B, C. Joshua has a plan A, plan B, plan C. Deontay Wilder's just heart. Heart can take you
And
all.
power.
You know.
You can't overlook
You
that.
know, but Joshua can come up with a game.
like
plan
he
to take
almost
away that
killed
power.
Bermain Stavern.
You know,
you know what I mean? Like granted-
Bermain Stavern is like.
No, I'm
you
saying
know.
he almost killed him. Like
You know,
almost killed him.
no,
Had
but-
a body
but-
on his record.
but
Like
I'm
he wanted
saying
to.
Louis-
I've
but
seen
did you-
Anthony
but I'm
Joshua
saying-
get knocked
but
down
did
by
you see-
Vladimir Klitschko
but
by
did you
somebody
see-
who's not as strong as
Well,
Deontay Wilder.
Vladimir Klitschko has a hell of a punch.
But not at that age. He's not strong as
No, he
Deontay
was.
Wilder is.
It's not like Klitschko didn't fight a good fight, man.
Klitschko
What I'm saying is
still.
Deontay Wilder is somebody who I've seen Anthony Joshua's chin get tested, and I'm like,
what did
Dylan
he-
White almost
But
knocked
I'm saying,
him down too.
saying this. But what happened with Luis Ortiz, who did not fight in the ring for a long time?
But I
He
think he's
got
very
gassed.
good.
But Luis Ortiz was absolutely skill set wise was dominating Wilder.
He was dominating
Yeah.
that fight.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
But
The
then
skill-
Wilder, what happened? Wilder came back.
But
then
maybe
that's
your thing
what,
is
but I'm
Ortiz-
saying he was gassed.
gassed.
Ortiz was
Ortiz
gassed.
definitely
Ortiz
was
did
gassed.
not fight. He
Anthony
didn't
Jo-
have
if-
many rounds.
I
before
remember
that fight.
watching
So you're
Anthony
saying that
Joshua.
Joshua's prepared.
Joshua's
and with skill, you
prepared
think-
and he's younger, and that's another thing.
So
too,
they're letting
you know?
Deontay Wilder. I think Eddie Hearn.
No, I think-
Eddie Hearn is just being overprotective.
No.
And I think that he's waiting out so then they can really cash out. He's doing what Oscar De La Hoya
but
does
guys,
with Canelo.
But guys, they can both make more money.
They
That's the
could.
thing. They can
They
both
could,
make more
but-
money.
by stretch.
But here,
Yeah,
but it's
yeah.
also and
I'm with- here's-
it's also risky
This is the
because
thing
it's
I'm-
also risky because again he could lose to Povetkin. Maybe Deontay Wilder ends up fighting Jarrell Miller and gets upset, which I don't think would happen.
Everything's a risk, right? And it's about whether it pays off. Here's the thing. I understand where both of you are coming from. I don't like this in boxing. I want to see the fights happen.
It's annoying.
But I understand,
understand
from the business
it doesn't
side
help
why
the
these
sport in
things-
terms of the fans.
I think it does hurt the sport. That's where I'm with Bryan. I think it does hurt the sport, and that's where it frustrates me. But I think some of the greed in the business side is like, yo, let's stretch this out so we can eventually get more money. I agree that they
fans
can
don't
get
care
more
about
money.
the business.
I agree they can get more money.
Yeah.
They're not wrong. They
Right.
definitely are going to get more money because
Yeah.
of this. There's no doubt about it. Does it? Look, here's the bottom line. This is what I'm saying. You know how do you know they're going to get more money? Are we all going to buy this fight? Yep.
Yep.
Right, we will. No matter if it comes out in September
But then-
or January.
Then you get more like casual fans,
March,
like
whenever.
that are like sports fans that aren't boxing fans, and then they're like, "Oh wow, it's finally happening."
See, I want to
Okay,
know
so
how
you
much of those
gain
fans
that
come
more,
over.
you know?
I'm always intrigued.
Oh, no, I mean, they'll just watch that fight, but
Yeah,
they won't be
yeah, yeah.
boxing
Do
fans.
you
know?
think? But do you think? I think what Dexter's getting at here is: do you think that more fans will watch it in March of 2019 as opposed to September in 2018?
Absolutely, you
think
get
so?
More fans will watch it?
because the news, when the news percolates and when the news when the news of the fight finally happening or of the dissension going on with both camps, people get intrigued by that and people want to see more of that. What about Floyd and Manny, for example? Would they have done 4.9 million buys? I think it's 4.9 million buys. Would they have done that 5 years ago? No.
But it would have been a better fight.
No. It would have been the same. Floyd would have.
I mean, I still think Floyd would have won, but I think the fight would have been actually.
I think it's also different because
and you know why Floyd did that? Because he wasn't going to have Arum
run
that whole thing. Because Floyd wanted to be a promoter himself. And Floyd offered Manny to leave Arum and just come with Mayweather.
I also think that's a little different though, because with Wilder and Joshua. They're both because with Wilder and Joshua,
they're not that business savvy.
No, not even that. They have all the heavyweight titles. Who's left to fight? You're not going to tell me, I need to get rid of Alexander Povetkin because he's my mandatory.
Actually, the real heavyweight champion, Tyson Fury, is there to fight too.
Nah, I don't.
He's going to fight him.
People are saying
don't sleep on Tyson Fury. I ain't sleeping on Tyson Fury.
His style is very difficult.
People say that. I'm like,
very difficult. And he's big. And has a good chin.
People say that. I mean, he beat Klitschko, but barely. He didn't really do anything.
No. He dominated Klitschko in that fight.
Barely.
But it wasn't barely. He won like 9 rounds.
You guys,
he didn't really do. He didn't do anything in that fight. He didn't do anything in that fight to make me think, he'll take Deontay Wilder.
Well, no, he did enough.
All Deontay Wilder needs to do is tap his chin.
But he's kind
of Joshua too.
I'm not. Well, actually, Fury's.
He got knocked down by Steve Cunningham, who's a cruiserweight.
Right. No, absolutely, he did get knocked down, but also he got careless. People get careless. Fighters get careless.
He got careless against Klitschko too. Klitschko didn't make him pay.
He didn't. Well, no, good boxing. We'll see what happens with that fight. It looks going to happen in March of 2019. Nabate album comes out. We hope, yes. It doesn't get pushed back. Nabate's album, which will not get pushed back, comes out July 20th. It's called Eclectic Excursions. Nabate, you also have a pre-album release show that you're doing?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
That'll be July 12th?
Yeah, July 12th at New Blue 151, which is 151 Avenue C in New York City.
Yep.
One of the great clubs in the city. Great eclectic music that they feature there in New Blue. And it's going to be great. Elzai will be performing.
Nice.
Lita Moses, who sang Find Your Light, she'll be performing with her band, too, as well. She's opening. DJ Dance will be spinning throughout the night whenever there's no live music going on. Also, T.L. Cross, good songwriter, artist, and everything. We went to LaGuardia together, so he'll be with us. And the band is going to be great. Josh Crumley on bass, Dave Gilmore on guitar, Mark Whitfield Jr. on drums, Jamel Brown on drums, Ian Young on saxophones, Adam Klippel on keyboards, and Sam Barr should be coming from LA, flying from LA to perform as well.
All right, so that's good.
A great band, too.
So we're gonna. I know I'll be coming back from out of town, but we definitely want to be there. I'm definitely gonna be there to support you. I'll be grabbing the album. Brian's gonna grab the album.
Sir.
Y'all need to pick up the album July 20th. Eclectic Excursions. Nabate, thank you for being the second musician, the first Grammy Award-winning artist.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Yes,
thank you for coming. We appreciate it. I know everybody learned a lot for the podcast. We'll see what happens with NBA free agency.
Yes.
It'll be a very interesting month of July. All right, that's it for episode 35 of the Ain't Hard to Tell podcast. For Brian Fonseca, Dexter Henry, the great Nabaté Isles. We'll be back.
35. I think Josh was great. I think Wilder beat him.